I'm going to see Bad Bunny this summer, so I decided to make this 3D nail for my set. I always start with my nail prep, and that's just filing away the little extra bit that always comes with Gel X nails. And I'm doing this on 2 nails because I'm gonna have 2 3D flower nails in my nail set. I feel like it's a huge hassle to have to file each nail before you start painting them, so I like to use this Extra Bond no etch prep on my nails, and I find that it keeps the polish on, and it's just the same as if you etch them using either a nail file or an e-file. Of course, we have to go in with a base coat, and I'm using my Beetles base coat for this set. I always like to go in with a really light coat for my base coat because I don't want my nail to get too bulky. While that cures, I'm gonna go ahead and get my stuff ready for my French. So I'm using white for my French, and then I'm going to also use this brush to make sure that everything looks nice. And here's the pink that I'm gonna use for the base of my French, just like a clear jelly pink. After curing, I'm gonna come back and go in with a second coat, just so it can look nice and neat. After curing that, I'm gonna start my French by creating sort of a guide, and I want this to be around kind of like a deeper French because my flower is going to lay right in the middle. And this really doesn't need to be perfect because I'm gonna go over this twice. I like using a guide because then I can just go in with my regular paintbrush and just fill in the rest of the French. It makes it just an easier, faster process, I find. In the end, I'm always gonna go in with the little liner brush just to clean things up and make it nice and neat. This next part is totally based on preference. I like to paint the edge of my nail just because I like the look of it, but you don't have to do that. I know some people like to maybe file their nail and keep it just nice and sharp. Here I'm going in with the second coat for my French. I already did the first nail, but I wanted to keep this clip in because I actually make a mistake, but I wanted to show how easy it is to fix it. So in this part, I definitely went a little bit overboard with the brush, but that's okay. All you need to do is grab a brush, dip it in a little bit of acetone, and then you're just gonna clean up where you made a mistake. Since this is my second coat, it's really not that big of a deal. All I have to do is a quick wipe, and then I'm gonna go in with my liner brush just to clean it up and make it look a little bit neat. But honestly, this step wasn't really that necessary because you'll see the flower is gonna go over this anyway, but just for the sake of doing neat work, I'm gonna clean that up. While I set that to cure, I'm gonna get my petals ready. I'm gonna use this pink, even though the flower that I'm trying to create is typically red. But here I am grabbing some gel glue. I never ever touch it with my bare hands because we don't want to give ourselves contact dermatitis. And then I'm just gonna roll this up so that it's as even as possible. I'm gonna use the sharper side of my silicone tip just to give it a little bit of a base to the beginning of my flower. I want those petals to stay in place, so I'm gonna start by just pushing them in, and this helps me to start shaping a little bit easier. This is a flower that has more of a round petal, so I'm keeping my petals pretty round. I'm adding in some indents because the flower naturally has like some ripples in it, and I want to recreate those ripples. And then you're gonna see me grab just the end of that tool to make sure the ripples show all the way at the end of my petal as well, just making it look as realistic as I can. But again, you can shape it to whatever shape of whatever flower you're trying to recreate. Once you get the shape where you want it, you're gonna wanna flash cure that for a little bit and maybe get your colors ready for your flower. So here I am adding in my pink, and then once that's flash cured, I'm gonna use this brush, just like a smaller brush, to go ahead and paint my petals. I was just checking in there to see that it was all fully cured. always thoroughly cure between each coat. So after that coat is cured, I'm bringing it out and I'm gonna do a second coat, but this time I'm not gonna cure. So the reason why I'm not curing is because I'm going to go in with a white in the middle, and I'm gonna try to create sort of like the stripy effect that this flower has. And the flower that I'm trying to recreate is called the Flor de maga. I'm making these nails for my Bad Bunny concert, so I wanted to include the national flower of Puerto Rico. Now, typically this flower is not pink, it's red, but you know, we live and we learn. I know it's a bit hard to see, but I am dotting in some white in the center. That's just so that I can go in with my liner brush and pull it out almost like you would with a marble effect. I'm so sorry it was out of focus in this part, and the light makes it really hard to see, but I'm just like pulling it out towards the outer edge of the flower so that it has sort of like these stripes going through the whole petal. Just like many tropical flowers, this flower does have a stamen in the middle, so I'm just gonna go ahead and create that because it's a really distinct feature of this flower. And I'm gonna go ahead and add it into the middle of my flower once the pink is completely cured. I know it's hard to see, but I just went in and flash cured it. And then this is the yellow that I'm using as that's curing. That's going to serve as the color of my stamen. And you guys are gonna see me go in with 2 coats of this. I'm using my smallest dotting tool to create the little pollen dots at the end. And each time I add a dot or so, I'm going to flash cure. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but every time I flash cure, it allows me to build up the little dot shape of the pollen. So it's really important that you go in and flash cure. Once you're happy with how everything looks, you're gonna put that to cure and get your top coat ready. And after everything has cured for about 60 seconds, you're gonna go in with your top coat. I like to coat the bottom first, the base of my nail, and then I'm gonna go in and coat my flower. I like to use a really thin layer because I don't want the details of my flower to get distorted. I'm gonna set that to cure for another 60 seconds, and here it is. I hope that was an easy tutorial for you guys to follow. Enjoy. Can't wait to see your flowers.